Okay. Hello, everybody. Good evening or good afternoon if you're joining me from across the pond. Um, Good evening to my Africans and Europeans. I hope everyone is doing really well. Thank you for joining me today. And I really want to hit the ground running with this because this is not going to be one of my usual longer live streams. At least it doesn't have any reason to be because I don't intend to tackle more than one topic. I was actually sent this yesterday, this video that I'm going to be addressing, which is essentially done by a channel called Bantu City Diaries, which we need to address that a little bit later as well. Even the name of the channel is problematic, but it's done by a channel called Bantu City Diaries. And this is the host whose face I am becoming increasingly sick of. I'll be totally honest with you. This guy's a real piece of work. I can't phrase it any nicer than that. Literally, I can't phrase it any nicer than that. He's a real piece of work. There's an increasing number of Africans on the continent who have found a very nice financial grift in the form of disparaging Africa and Africans in the most overt and obscene ways, in the knowledge that that kind of overt disparagement of their own people is going to essentially see their popularity grow from nowhere and see them be able to make a very good income. I spoke briefly about one such individual, Frank Zanu, and there's a plethora of other kind of just YouTubers who just make hateful anti-black content. And by the way, when you get these guys, they tend to not just hate themselves or their nations, they tend to expand that to Africa, and then they expand it to the black diaspora. So they always end up being anti-black. They can never just reserve their dislike for a particular type of black or for a particular ethnicity. It always ends up being a general and broad anti-blackness. And what you'll find with these anti-black types is it doesn't matter how intelligent, how knowledgeable they are. It doesn't matter if anything that they say is true. They will be propped up and they will be lauded by the far right, alt-right community. They'll be loved. This video I'm about to talk about, it's 11 days old. It has 150,000 views. It's been posted on multiple channels. He's made good money from doing this video, to tell a long story short. And it's been propping up. Now, someone posted this to me yesterday. I discovered this man, I discovered this channel, and I discovered this video just yesterday. So if you're in a chat and you're the person who left me the comment and said, check out this video, I just want you to know that I hate you. I'm just joking. I don't hate you, but you've made my, you haven't improved my existence, because I would have preferred to not know that this guy existed. Honestly, I would have just preferred to, like, I don't know anything about him, and I would have been a much happier existence. But this guy, really, knowing people like this exist really does ruin ruin what could be a good day sometimes. You know, it makes life harder knowing that, as someone who tries to produce unfiltered black / African content in a world that is already anti-black, knowing there's people like this who will fabricate really negative data, anti-black data, at their own, you know, against their own interests. I mean, his short-term interests are going to be fulfilled, but his long-term interests are going to be totally and entirely obliterated. He doesn't care. And there's so many people like that. You know, it's like the Jesse Lee Peterson, for instance. He's a perfect example. Okay, this is someone who, respectfully, he's ugly, he's miserable, he's incredibly low IQ, he doesn't know anything about anything, and he has this massive YouTube platform and a huge following of white people that worship him. Oh, you're such a truth teller. Oh, you tell it how it is. Oh, you tell it how it is. Oh my God, you don't hold your tongue. This guy, in any other field of existence would be classified for the moron that he is, the unattractive moron that he is. He's like literally barely functioning individual, and yet he's managed to make himself, I would say, rich. You know, Jesse Lee Peterson is probably quite a rich individual. Like he's not worrying about how he's eating tomorrow. So in that way, you know, in that perspective and in that light, you can to some degree understand where this grift comes from. You know, hey, I wasn't no one a year ago, and now I have this massive channel with all of these followers. So we'll get into it now anyway, because that's a bit of a preamble. Now I want to paint the picture before I go into the video, because debunking the video itself is going to be very easy. One of the reasons why is one of the last live streams I did was debunking the Asmongold IQ video, because I've done a study on IQ. I've done a very extensive 3-part documentary on IQ. I'm aware of what all the data points are and what the data sets are and how they came to their conclusions, what the flaws were in terms of their methodology, how things like the Flynn effect have affected outcomes, the socioeconomic implications, all of the issues with, you know, social change, genetic factors which aren't a factor, they've been disproven, and, you know, things like, you know, delayed maturation within populations. All of these factors I've looked at, I've studied, I understand them, and I understand how you get to, or how we got to the Lynn published IQ results, which were easily falsifiable for the fact that they, you know, were so many flaws in terms of his processes that it was literally largely laughed at amongst those who were actually in that field. They didn't regard his results as credible, and he had many detractors. One such being Jelty Wickerts, who wrote several studies addressing David Lynn and Van Hanen, who's the person who did the study with, addressing their flawed approaches, which ended up or resulted in the results that he's going to parrot, and then also say that he was able to replicate. He did the thing, and he's replicated these results, which show how low IQ Africans are. So he's going to do that, but I've done the study already, so debunking him will be easier. I want to first of all show you that this isn't some kind of a knee-jerk reaction, because honestly, the order of events here was someone sent me this video. I watched the video in its entirety, and I got very quickly, like a few minutes into the video, I definitely got the I don't want to say essence. I got the impression. Let's just use the word impression, because I can't think of a better word. I got the impression that there was something. There was a moral dilemma here, in that I was looking at this individual and I was like, is he AI? Because he's saying things and I feel like he's being disingenuous. I feel like he's making statements about, you know, his connection to Africa, and it sounds disingenuous. I get the impression you don't like Africans, but it was just an impression. I didn't have any evidence for that. So first place we can stop off is his actual YouTube channel. Okay. And we're gonna go through his YouTube channel, but I actually just want to read the leading statement on his YouTube channel. Okay. Bantu City Diaries is a Bantu page channel focused on cities, travel, topography, language, culture, race, geopolitics, religion, and more. Update. Now, this is the important part. I know you guys can barely see this, but just trust me, bro. This is what it says. So we have noticed that some non-black viewers visit our channel seeking to justify their hostility towards black people and reinforce their feelings of racial superiority. Now, where would they get feelings like that from? We'll get there. We'll get there. Our true mission, because he's not anti-black, he's not into any of that. Our true mission, however, is to inspire and empower the Black African community. It is disheartening to see our purpose and their biases intertwine so easily. You have to ask your question, why would your purpose, which is to uplift Black people, and their purpose, which is to denigrate people, intertwine? Why would that be the case? Yet, if sparking awareness among Black people means enduring the presence of a few prejudiced outsiders, not a few, his entire audience. His entire audience. Yeah. We accept that as the cost of progress. Now, this is where it cooks. This is where he really starts to give himself away. Welcome to the world of zero political correctness. Wokeism. Now, wokeism, first of all, that's a already political correctness is kind of like we're already teeing on edge there. Wokeism, that's a anti-black racist dog whistle straight away. Okay, because woke was a word that was coined by the black community for the black community, and then was co-opted by a racist to denigrate the black community in a similar way they did with black fatigue. So a dog whistle there. Or the Wakanda illusion. The Wakanda illusion. What's the Wakanda illusion? The only people who say things like Wakanda dreamer, oh, the Wakanda dreamer, the only people who say that are the racists on 4chan and all of these kind of like platforms where they hate black people. You'll never hear black people talk about, oh, Wakanda, we will build Wakanda. Black people don't say that. So this guy clearly is now communicating the fact that he dialogues regularly with anti-black racists. He's appearing and appealing to them. We refuse to sugarcoat or euphemize the truth. Other black African YouTubers have presented distorted narratives that have ruined the black African community. So it's the positive depictions of Africa by black African YouTubers that has ruined the black African community. It's nothing to do with economics or anything like that. Nothing to do with colonialism, imperialism, neo-colonialism, the attempted assassination and or assassination, replacement of our leaders, the placement of puppet leaders, the exploitation of our mineral resources, etc. None of that. It's the YouTubers. It's those positive African YouTubers that are destroying Africa. We at BCD have come to put an end to that Wakanda and replace it with reality. Okay, so he's replacing Wakanda with reality. Yeah, this is going to be hard. Now, some of you have picked up on the fact that we're going to go through his videos, and we're not going to watch them all, but we're just going to go through his video titles to give you guys the impression of the kind of content that this guy puts out before we tackle the IQ video, which we're going to tackle. But we're going to have to see what built up to this. Can we trust the vehicle? Yeah, can we trust it, or is there some questionable motives that have built up to this? So some of you have highlighted the fact that he's called Bantu City Diaries, and that was one of the first things that I picked up on. Yeah, someone said he isn't even Bantu, and that's absolutely correct. Now, I don't know where he is. Let me know in the chat if you do, but I'm going to tell you right now, he visibly looks like an Igbo. So I would make, and I'm normally really good at this, but I would make a guess that there's 90% chance that this is an Igbo man. He looks like an Igbo. I have many Igbo friends, and everything about him is very typically Igbo. Now, I could be wrong. I could be entirely wrong. He could pass for an Ewe man as well. He could pass for an Ewe man. But I'm going to hang my hat on Igbo. I feel like he's an Igbo man. Igbo or Ewe man, in terms of how he presents. Okay. But I think he's definitely Nigerian. But if you know exactly what his ethnicity is, let me know. But he's a Nigerian man. He's a Nigerian man. I'm just trying to pinpoint exactly what part of Nigeria he's from. Now, he says he's Bantu. Now, I can tell you right now, if he's Igbo or Ewe, he's not Bantu. We have barely any Bantus in Nigeria. I'm saying Bantu, it's Bantu. My beautiful Bantu people are mostly concentrated in southern Central Africa. Okay, so really, if you want that Bantu concentration, you're looking from the Congo down to South Africa. That's where you have a nice concentration of my beautiful Bantu speaking people. There are a few in Cameroon and a tiny couple, like a sprinkling of ethnicities in Nigeria that speak Bantu, but they are tiny ethnicities, and I don't think this guy belongs to them. So even calling his page Bantu City Diaries, all he's doing is playing into white ignorance of African ethnology, okay, or African ethnography, I should say. He's just playing into their ignorance. He thinks he's Bantu because a white book told him he was Bantu. because a white person says, "Oh, you're a Bantu African." Yeah, but you're not Bantu. I'm not Bantu. I'm Yoruba. We are not Bantu. We are Niger Kordofan speakers. Okay, we are Niger Kordofan speakers, and Bantu belongs. If you're going to talk in the Greenbergian films, Bantu belongs to the larger Niger Kofordian group, but it does not belong to. But many Nigerian and West African languages do not belong to the Bantu branch. It's a different branch. So the Bantu languages are all incredibly similar, okay? And he doesn't speak one, okay? So what did he say? He's definitely Nigerian, yeah. Someone said Igbo. Okay, he's Igbo for sure. There you go. Someone said he's Igbo. That's what I thought. Yeah, he says it in this past video. So there you go. I'm normally, like I said, I'm normally good at this. You can normally tell the differences between ethnic groups, which actually is interesting. I had a live stream the other day and someone was surprised when I turned to them and said, no, you have to respect diversity in Africa. We can, when you're from there, we can tell each other apart. It's not that difficult. So yeah, he's an Igbo man. So there you go. I'm not, no surprises there. That was pretty obvious for me just looking at it on the eye test. Okay. So he's an Igbo man. He's not Bantu. His page is called Bantu City Diaries. That's absolutely ridiculous. You know, so he's already embarrassed himself there. You know, already embarrassed himself there. That's like someone being from, you know, I don't know, but being from China and then calling this page Germanic City Diaries. You know, you've got nothing to do with the Bantu people, my friend. Nothing to do with them, but you're so uneducated about even your own ethnography that you couldn't get the name of your page correctly. So I hope you're watching this, Mr. BCD, as well. I hope you're watching this, Mr. Bantu City Diaries, so you can get some education and get some understanding and maybe make some changes. You can start by changing the name of your channel. Call it Igbo City Diaries, yeah? But anyway, let's go through his videos. And I wanted to scroll down to the start because this guy hasn't been around for very long, like I stated. He hasn't been around for very long, but let's see what kind of energy we're getting from his page. Because this was important for me, because at the end of the day, I need to know if there's a conflict of interest. It's the same thing I did when I debunked David Lynn. I looked at who he is. I looked at his backstory. I looked at the other books that he wrote. If you're going to claim you've done an IQ test or a series of IQ tests and I should trust the results, I need to know what the environment was that they was taken. And I need to know if you entered the test trying to prove something, or if you went in there totally objectively and allowed the data to do itself. And let's have a look. Okay, so starts off downward. These are members only videos. Namibia, why are white controlled African countries more developed? That's his first video. Okay, I'm not going to argue that. Okay, cool, that's not too bad. All right, I mean, you've done a bit of race baiting there. I can see a little bit of the anti-black dog whistling, but we'll move on. Gabon, Botswana versus Lagos, Nigeria. No problems there. Okay, this is members only, by the way. White Cape Town versus Black Nairobi. Okay, white versus, you notice he's called it White Cape Town versus Black Nairobi. Once again, the racial dog whistling is there. European built Johannesburg versus African built Kigali. Okay, so he's realizing a little bit of a grift here. Okay, let's do white versus black. Let's not just compare the cities. Let's put the race behind them. Let's continue. Casablanca, Morocco outclasses every black African city. Okay, all right. So okay, it's clear that he prefers, you know, non-black African places. Commuting in Johannesburg, South Africa versus Lagos, Nigeria. Okay, not a huge amount of dog whistling there. 315k views in this one. Africans have built nothing. Okay, all right. So this was probably his first major grift payoff here. Okay, I've made a very African poverty explained. Africans have built nothing. I'm not going to watch these videos, by the way. I think in the future, I might be debunking them one by one. I think that's very possible. The illusion of one Africa, Pan-Africanism. So here's an attack on Pan-Africanism. It wasn't just enough to attack African cities. He has to attack anything, ideologies. It's moving on. Why are Nigerians everywhere? I asked myself that question. Why are Nigerians everywhere? He can't stand them all. Why are African cities so ugly? Okay, he's really heating up now. 753k views. By the way, he's got 3 million views on this channel. So this constitutes 20% of his videos. Why are African cities so ugly? I can tell you right now as a creator as well, you know, when a video scores like that's like bing, 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 bing. You know, that's the ching coming in from that. So he's made a mental note. That one worked. That one score for the word ugly. He shelved the word ugly. He's saving ugly. Yeah, he's gonna bring that back soon. Can a black person be European? Okay, that one's not too bad. Members only. You can't see the views. Africa, world's largest baby factory. Let's carry on. Is Africa more defenseless today than a century ago? Okay, once again, I can't hate on that title. That's okay. Are black people intellectually inferior? Okay, so now he's hitting on it. Now he's coming out. It's not, by the way, we've expanded from just Africans, isn't it? It's black people. Yeah, all black people. Are they intellectually inferior? Next one. Africa's fastest growing meaningless economies. So even a fast growing economy is meaningless in this world. Who designed Africa's terrible structures? Let's move on. This one. Now, this is where it's really going to start to hit home, yeah? Black men make horrible fathers. Like, do we? Did I need to ask my kids, man. Like, he seems damn certain about black men make. I mean, look where you just hover over it as well. Look at when you hover over it. Look, you get smiling white men marrying their wives. Oh, honey, I love you. Yeah, I'm sure he's never done a video about the rates of kidney fiddling and abuse in certain communities that aren't black. But yeah, there you go. Carry on. Why don't Africans help each other? Well, yeah, that one I can't really, you know. You saw the last video I did about Tinubu. So by the way, I'm not, those of you coming here, I'm not some everything that comes out of black people is positive kind of guy. Okay, if you just watch my last video that I did on Tinubu, yeah, just go a couple videos down. You see me, I am as condemning and as harsh on fellow Africans, on Nigerians, on false and, you know, corrupt governance, all of those things there. You know that I don't play. Yeah, but I'm also very supportive of my Africans that do right by our people, and I try to overtly show my support to them. So you're not coming here to someone who just thinks black is good and white is bad. I don't abide by that kind of thinking. But you can see what the theme is here. Here's the next one. The scarcity of black entrepreneur billionaires. Why is there no black American Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk? Well, to start off with, Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk's parents were millionaires. Okay, I mean, that's just a moron could have, 2 seconds of Google could have told you that. Okay, Jeff Bezos was given 3 million to start his business. Elon Musk was given an untold amount of million from his dad, who owned mines in South Africa. Kanye West, who's also a billionaire, was given nothing by his parents and made that from scratch. Oprah Winfrey, a similar story. It's funny how those black billionaires you haven't mentioned, and I'm sure you don't mention in your video, condemning all black people to being deficient business people. In reality, you just know very little about black people. Shout out to Angelo C. And wait, let me get this right. Is it Angelo C. Mensa, or is it Angelo C. one name? I'm sorry. Thank you very much. Oh, no, Angel Ose Mensa. You're Ghanaian. Sorry, how did I get that wrong? Angel Ose Mensa. Thank you very much for your $5 donation. It's much appreciated, sister. Appreciate you a lot. I like my Oses. I heard you guys are Ghanaian royalty. You Oses. Is that right? Is that true? You gotta let me know if you are Ghanaian. Ashanti, I believe, Ose. You guys are Ghanaian royalty. The chaotic people of Nigeria. Look at the title of this one. Are Nigerians parasites? Are Nigerians parasites? This one's vile to watch as well. They're all vile to watch. Look at this now. It's not enough. He has to also go for the ones who are actually making development. The exaggerated achievements of Ibrahim Traore. Is Ibrahim Traore the African savior? So he's now showing hatred towards those who are just trying to progress Africa as well. What's wrong? This guy is mentally unstable. I'm sorry, this is a worthwhile exercise. Sorry for those of you getting bored, but we have to go through each of these. Everyone wants a Western passport. Okay, that's all right. Is Islam tolerable? Okay, so he's clearly here just working for the alt-right. Yeah. Why Africans academically can't match the West and East Asia. So has he done a video about why the West can't match East Asia? That would be interesting to see if he would go there, or if he'd be too scared about his community turning on him. But I'd love for him to address the gap, yeah, between Asians and Europeans, which is a big gap, by the way. I'm sure he wouldn't. But let's carry on. Nigeria/Africa, should poor people be banned from having children? Orderly, clean Kigali, Rwanda versus chaotic, dirty Lagos, Nigeria. Okay, so I guess unless he's gonna say white people built Kigali, that's at least one compliment to one city there. So well done, well done, well done. He's complimented an African city there. Why can't Africans copy and paste existing technology? And then look at the video of these black people fighting. He does this a lot, by the way. You go into these videos and he's got these compilations of black people fighting with each other. He's obsessed with it. Why do black people seem happier than white people? I'd like to see what he's saying in this one. I mean, he's got to relate it. My guess is, I haven't watched it yet, but he's got to link it to African low IQ. We're just happier because we don't know any better. We are just so simple. We just don't use our brains. They don't work properly. So we just smile like a dog waiting for his biscuit. So old Nairobi, Kenya versus young Abuja, Nigeria. Nothing wrong with that one. I'm not going to condemn it. There probably is when you watch the video, but at this stage, nothing to say. Should Africa outsource leadership to competent white Europeans? And I didn't watch that. I mean, he must have another one like that, because I'm not one of his members. I will never give him a penny of my money. But he's got a video where he's really quite outright and making it clear they have to be white Europeans. I'm not interested in people who have settled and been educated in Europe. And so in Europe, they have to be white Europeans. They are the only ones who can deliver the kind of change that we need. This guy is a demon, I tell you. The delusion of religion in Africa. Okay, that's not something I'd actually disagree with there, so I'm not going to hate on that one. Africa is bad market for tourism. Okay, I mean, that's strong. That's strong. Let's carry on. Black countries can never develop. Is development in the Black African worldview? Yes or no? We all know what the answer to his question is there. Let's carry on. Let's carry on. We're nearly there, guys. We're nearly there. I'm finding this actually quite entertaining. Should Africans outsource the running of their countries to white Europeans? This is the one, I think. So he did it. I think he's posted it again for everybody. He did it in the members only. And he thought, now I'm going to let everybody have some of this smoke. Everyone can catch these hands. Africa, the world's greatest waste of human capital. Africa's natural resources aren't exclusive to Africa. Wow. 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 Is this the son of Tinubu? Is this the love child of Tinubu? He has just said Africa's natural resources aren't exclusive. They don't belong to you. They belong to the world. I don't even need to watch it. I know exactly what this guy would have said in that video. You know, we just happen to be lucky that we are existing on this land, but God has not we do not have the intelligence. We don't have the common sense to be the governance, to be the masters, to be the controllers of these resources. This guy's a demon. Wow. Face to face with Africans live. What do you think about slave? Okay, I'm not gonna go well. African incompetence masks as corruption. That's global, man. That's global, my guy. Seriously. Is China Is China's Africa new darling or bogeyman? Okay, I mean, that's pretty standard talking point. I'm not going to continue for that one. How relevant are black people? Okay, just go for that one there. Just not relevant at all. Someone said it should be taken out for that title. Which one, man? Which one? This one, you got to be specific, my friend Mech Hanger. Which one? His titles are out. So many of these titles are out of pocket. It's unbelievable. Now, this is the one we're going to be critiquing. We conducted an IQ test in Nigeria, Africa. Okay, so this is the one that he did. So we're going to be critiquing this. We'll get to the start soon. Watch full IQ test questions used in our IQ experience. We don't need to do that because after we debunk it, you're going to realize how ridiculous his IQ tests were. Nigeria makes nothing. It imports everything. True. I can't even deny that one. Nigeria makes nothing. Oh, sorry. Oh, fantastic. I forgot to turn my fan on, so I'm going to lose you. You're going to be able to hear me, but you would have lost visual for the next 2 minutes. No, well, let's say 5 minutes. 5 minutes, I'm going to be just a voice and a logo. Where were we? Black Africans, no pension, no savings, no planning. And then a picture of a woman dancing in what appears to be a club or some sort, which he obviously is posted for a reason. Just 4 more to go, guys. 4 more to go. Half of Nigerians do not understand the meaning of IQ. Okay. I don't understand. Is that supposed to be some kind of shade? Do you know how many? Do a survey right now, people around you or in your house, and see how many of them know what IQ stands for. That's not a big deal. That really is not a big deal. Okay. It's not like the common, unless you're actually, for some reason, go and Google what does the IQ stand for. It's not something that people are going to come across. Even I didn't know what it was until I looked into it, and I was like, "Oh, quotium, that's a funny word." Before then, I was like, I didn't know what I thought it was quota. I thought it was intelligence quota, but I was wrong. So it's like that's not a big deal. Who cares about that? But anyway, let's carry on. All Black African economies are failures. Let's see if they know what an economy is. Okay, so I'm not even interested. I was about to ask, who have you asked? Why would I care who he's asked? The idiot. The US or China, which is Africa's true friend? Now, guys, he posted, the reason I'm doing this live stream is because he posted a video just today. And I made a post about a couple hours ago. So he's posted this 3 hours ago. And when you see well, you could probably see the title of this video, but I'm going to read out to you his latest video. Why do other races find Black people the least attractive? And the thumbnail says, why all races find Black people ugly? I'm not lying. He said, why all races find Black people ugly? Now, I'm going to come for that one next, because there have been so many studies done, and this is not something that I'm going to like brag about because I think these studies are stupid. But do you know how many studies have been done which rank Black men as the most attractive? Like numerous studies, even ones done by racists. Yeah. So he hasn't even bothered doing the research here. He just wants to say something. This is a real nasty piece of work. This guy is a real piece of shit. I'm not gonna lie. He's a piece of shit. I'm not gonna lie. So let's get into his video and debunk it, because it shouldn't take too long, because it's an easy video to debunk. He doesn't know anything, and I'm interested to know what made him think that he had the capability and to not only create his own. I want to know what he hasn't actually stated what his background is. I'm not acting like I'm some super experienced person, but I do have a postgraduate certificate in education as well as my degree. Okay, I have been trained on matters like or at least should say subjects and skills like pedagogy. Okay, these are things that you would probably need to do. I'm a accredited moderator and accredited assessor across multiple examination bodies in the UK, including Edexcel, OCR. So a number of examination bodies. So when it comes to creating exams, creating curriculums, marking exams, marking curriculums, and ensuring that I've created something that is structurally and pedagogically sound, I am qualified to do that. So I'm just interested to know what his qualifications were here, in that he felt that he had the capability to create a study. Now you're going to see that his entire study is a joke, because we're going to debunk it from the from the ground up here. So let's have some fun with this idiot. This idiot. There's not going to be any respect for him. You've seen the video titles, guys. So if you're like, oh, you shouldn't name call, it's kind of like, well, guys, if you don't feel like I've earned the right to name call him after that litany of insults, which was his video, his videography, whatever you want to call it, his bibliography of videos. If you don't feel like I've earned the right to discredit him, then lo and behold, Let me shout out quickly. I missed a donation. Thank you very much for your $5, Mr. Kieran Grant. He said, men like him is how we ended up on one-way trips to the new world. For real. For real. These are your colluders. This man has got no sense of camaraderie, no sense of community, no sense of ethnic or allegiance, which, to be honest with you, is not the most uncommon thing in Nigeria. But his is definitely mixed with a real nasty spin. But then it goes to show that this falsifies one of my claims that I made when I was assessing Tinubu. And I said, one of the ways we can avoid having or electing another Tinubu is to put an age restriction in terms of our voting and not vote any of these really old, useless Nigerian men. Let's try and get someone younger in. Imagine if we voted this demon into power. Imagine if this devil managed to ascend a leadership position or a place of political influence. We would be doomed. This guy is just a wicked demon. But anyway, let's get started debunking. Let me see if I get my camera back on, actually. Oh, it's back on. Camera's back. I know you guys need the visuals, man. All right, visuals on. Let's get cracking. He is. I agree, Fabrice. Fabrice says he's desperate for white validation. Do you get these types a lot? It's a very, very common phenomena. Very common phenomena. This guy's vile. But anyway, let's get cracking and let's debunk this. So by the way, if you're one of these alt-right people and you're watching this live, I'm going to crumble your dreams and crumble your world if you are hanging your hat on the stuff that he says in this video being credible or holding any kind of weight. It doesn't. Okay, this is like one of the most ridiculous, biased and inferior, I can't even call it a study, just documentaries, whatever you want to call it, whatever he's done here. It wouldn't be taken seriously by any educational institution. And I know that you want to believe it's true because obviously the big title is here, Black African proves Black Africans have low IQ. That's his whole kind of like calling card here. But unfortunately, it just isn't. So let's get cracking anyway. It's all about the IQ. Even the way he speaks is pissing me off. Guys, by the way, just let me know in the chat that audio came through okay. Did you hear him speak just then? Just give me a 1 in the chat if the audio came through just then. I've just brought it back and I'm going to play it again. Let me know if you hear it okay. Okay. Everyone's saying can't hear him. Okay, no audio. All right, let me do it again. Annoying. I'll get my camera back on actually. And let's do that again. So I'm gonna remove this. Stop screen. Let's try again. Share screen. Entire screen. Audio. Give me 2 seconds, guys. We'll get this back up again. Okay, and I'm going to bring this back again as well. Once again, please be as quick as you can off the mark. Let me know if the audio is okay.
It's all about the IQ. They have the lowest IQ in the world. Well, what can you do with an IQ of under 60? The average IQ is 75. That's what those who watch my channel, especially Westerners, often comment.
Now, isn't that interesting? Those who watch my channel often comment. Those who watch my channel often comment. Why? Why is your audience obsessed with the IQ, or I should say the reported, although falsifiable and entirely incorrect, low IQ, exceedingly low IQ? And don't get me wrong, don't get it twisted. There are issues that can contribute towards lower IQs in certain communities, in certain groups of people, but those things are entirely explainable, and you haven't addressed any of that. But let's carry on.
It's the IQ. So we decided to go to the streets of Nigeria to conduct our own IQ test. I raised the budget and dispatched my team.
I raised the budget and dispatched my team. That's wonderful that you raised the budget, but do you have the expertise to be conducting IQ tests? That is the question.
Well, the findings were very disappointing.
Welcome to Bantu.
And straight away there, you'll hear a statement that he just made there, okay? He said the findings are very disappointing. Now that in itself tells me that you have no idea what you're doing, because they shouldn't be disappointing. Okay, that already frames that you have an agenda. Now you're trying to frame it that your agenda was to see results that were higher than what was published. But we already know from looking at your bibliography of videos that you've published that that definitely wasn't your intention. You haven't done anything positive. So for instance, if I went to your channel and your channel was full of either positive or neutral assessments of Africa, then and you produced these same video and these same results and you said, it was disappointing, then I'll sit down and go, yeah, that must have been disappointing, because you're always banging on about how great Africans are, or you're always banging on about how much potential African has. So if you make that statement like you was disappointed, I'll be like, okay, yeah, cool, that is disappointing. I was expecting them to be better than that. But you're saying they're disappointing, and it's just disingenuous. No one believes you for the simple fact that every video you have is disparaging the Black community. Every single video you have is saying Africans are stupid and deficient. So therefore, we know that you're lying. We know that you're lying when you say, the results were disappointing. No, the results were exactly what you wanted the results to be. You wanted the results to be low. In fact, if the results weren't low, you wouldn't have published this video. Everybody here knows that. Everybody watching this knows that. Let's carry on.
Page. It has been reported that Africa has the lowest IQ in the world today. On the streets of Nigeria, we have come to confirm that. We will conduct IQ tests and bring you the numbers.
You see, there's something about Black people.
Sorry, when I hear someone say a statement like that, especially someone like him, it's like, come on, man. There's something about Black people. Like, as soon as he said it, you just want to give him a back. Like, you know what's gonna come next is not a compliment. Yeah, there's no way he's gonna be like, there's something about Black people. Our cultures are just so rich and vibrant. You know he's gonna come with some haymaker. No face, all cases. You said, I'm happy you addressed this. I specifically requested it. Was it you? Was it you, No Face? Because you missed the start of the video where I said, I've got an axe to grind with you, because you've opened up a whole world of pain. Me having to deal with this flea, this moron, this wicked demon that you've introduced to my life. So yeah, thank you very much for that. Me and you are enemies, No Face. I'm just kidding, No Face. We're not enemies, but yeah. Anyway, let's carry on. Let's see what the compliment that he's got for Africans. Something about Black people.
Whenever a white person come up with a report that's negative towards Black people, they complain about racism.
I told you, he just doesn't disappoint, does he? Whenever black people, whenever white people come out of a report that's negative about black people, have you ever asked yourself the question, why would they need to make a report that's negative about black people? Why? They don't come out of reports that's negative about Chinese people. They don't come out of reports that are negative about Indian people. So do you not think that black people complaining about reports that are negative about black people is for a reason? Do you not think that perhaps we are feeling slightly targeted? Do you not feel like perhaps we feel like there's an agenda at hand, at play? That's what a logical person would say. We go, you complain about racism because it is racist. David Lynn, whose results you're attempting to parrot here, was an open racist. He wasn't small or quiet or shy or coy about it. He was an open racist. He was like, yeah, I think that we're superior. Not only that, I believe in dysgenics, and we should be looking at ways that we can eradicate some of these more different and useless races. He was the worst kind of racist. But you would say, David Lynn's report was all good. There's no problems there, because you probably haven't done the research. You haven't done just even a little bit of research to understand.
Well, lately, I think they hate me more than the white now. I raised the budget and dispatched my team. Well, the findings were very disappointing. So
I raised the budget and dispatched team. And once again, he said the findings were disappointing. Once again, stop saying they're disappointing, because no one believes you. Nothing that you've published so far suggests you were disappointed by this. This is exactly, you went out and you got exactly what you were looking for. Let's carry on.
We conducted our own report. We're Nigerians. We went to the street of Nigeria and conducted an IQ test. It was so disappointing that I had to take one myself to make sure this thing wasn't that difficult. And I'm not bragging here. I did pretty well.
Okay, so he's just debunked himself. We could end the video there. In his effort to really disparage black people and Africans, he's literally just debunked himself, because he said, we went out, my team, we got together, I raised the budget, and we dispatched the tests, and I was so disappointed that I took the test myself and I did really well. Well, there you go. You literally, congratulations, you disproved yourself. I think he forgot that he's a Nigerian. I think he forgot that he belongs to the same demographic that he's disparaging. And if he's saying he found the test easy, so I'm assuming he scored highly on the test, then his entire premise falls apart. Because the question he should be asking then, or any logical, unbiased person will be asking, is why can I, as an African, attain highly in the test, yet the people who I've tested have attained so low? That's the logical question, isn't it? You know, it's a very, very simple question. You literally just said you did the test and it was really easy. So clearly there's nothing wrong with your IQ, but you're proposing that Africans have a problem. All Africa has a problem, but you don't. So is there a difference between your circumstances and the circumstances of the people that you were testing? Is there a difference? Is there contributing factors that could maybe contribute to the difference between your circumstances and the circumstances of the people that you were testing? Okay. Did you check? Did you look to see why you found it easy and the people that you were testing were finding it so hard? There are multiple errors here. Now, the first thing that I could obviously mention is something that I mentioned in my previous video. By the way, I've done a 3-part series. So if you're interested, it's on this channel on IQ. Feel free to go back and watch that 3-part series, which actually looks at multiple sources and breaks down not only how they got there, but how and why different populations score so differently in the IQ test. And it's incredibly multifaceted. But essentially, all of it boils down to the differing contributing factors to the Flynn effect. The first thing being that IQ tests aren't random, kind of like, they're not random tests that test intelligence, okay? They literally test a specific type of test taken, okay? So they're not actually like the ultimate test to see how intelligent someone is, okay? They literally are a specific kind of learning. one of the things that I focused on in the video that I done was the non-verbal reasoning aspect that you can see in many of the questions, and the fact that people improve in non-verbal reasoning over time. But not only that, that kind of question, that type of questioning is linked to a certain type of development and learning, which once again feeds into the Flynn effect. But then there are multiple factors when it comes to the Flynn effect and how it affects people's cognition, how it affects people's learning. There's things like you have to look at the education, the methods of pedagogy that are undertaken in certain areas and in certain environments and in certain cultures, the types of learning. So one of the examples that I give in the video, once again, is that someone who's raised in a rural environment and learns different to someone who's raised in an environment where they're surrounded by kind of the Western, the Western apparatus that we normally give children, such as building blocks, Lego blocks, shapes, drawing tools, stuff like that. All of those contribute to a certain style of learning, a certain type of abstract learning, which you won't get if you're raised in a rural environment and every day you wake up, you're feeding chickens and you're feeding hens. However, the person that's raised feeding chicken and feeding hens is probably much more capable at defending themselves and actually fending for themselves over a long period of time in isolation than someone who's raised in a Western environment. Two different forms of intelligence. You can't say that one is more intelligent than the other. One just has a type of learning, a type of abstract learning that is favorable towards IQ tests. So that's one of the things. Then you have things like, you know, basic things like improved nutrition. And one of the correlations I give, once again, in my study that I've produced on this channel is Maslow's hierarchy of needs, which both those of you who are exposed to any kind of like behavioral science would have been exposed to. Okay, and right at the bottom, you have your physiological needs. Okay, then it moves up to your your physiological needs, then it moves up to your safety needs and your ego needs and your group needs, and then at the top is self-actualization. So the idea that you're going to improve cognitively only happens once you're warm, you're safe, you're well fed, you know your position within the group. Okay, you are acknowledged as an individual, and then after that can your intelligence actually flower, and can your offspring start to benefit from the effects of essentially the Flynn effect. So to put the Flynn effect in a nutshell, what they found is the rate of improvement in a developing nation, so a nation that's seeing the kind of development that it needs to, in these factors, you'll see a jump of 3 IQ points per decade. Yeah, so is that correct? Yes, 3 IQ points per decade in a population that's seen that. So over, you know, case of, you know, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, 60 years, you'll see that adjustment being made, and the IQ of that population will go up in that gradient. Now, what this obviously highlights is if you was to give today's IQ tests to the grandparents or the great grandparents, they would be coming up as mentally retarded. Were they mentally retarded? No, they just had a different style of learning that was more suitable for the environment that they were raised in. Okay, it's not a generic measure of intelligence like people think it is. It's just a measure of a specific type of learning that we've all become accustomed to. And this is one of the reasons why Far East Asians outperform Europeans. One of the reasons is that they've been doing that style of learning longer than anyone else. They've been doing kind of seated exams, seated examinations. They kind of invented that entire more kind of like isolated style of learning. That's their kind of bread and butter. So they've been doing it for centuries. And as a result, they've had the longest Flynn effect adjustment. Okay, Africans, by comparison, have had the shortest Flynn effect adjustment. So these things are incredibly easy to address and incredibly easy to answer, unless you are agendered and uneducated like this moron who's done this video. But anyway, let's give a quick shout out to Dregger, who says, as someone who drives all over the east coast of the US, excuse me, I can confirm without a doubt that IQ tests are not an effective way of measuring intelligence. Absolutely not. And we're going to come on to that. So anyway, let's jump back into the video. I just want to give you a quick kind of like overview of how the Flynn effect works. We'll probably dive back into it, in and out of it, as this video goes on. But let's carry on with this ridiculous video.
Our findings did not deviate from the report you find on Google.
So his findings did not deviate from the report you find on Google. He doesn't even know where those scores come from. Excuse me. I need a cup of water. So imagine deploying a team, funding the study. I'm gonna pause. I need to get a cup of water. Excuse me, guys. Sorry about this. I'll be back in 2 seconds. Oh dear. Back, baby. Sorry, guys. Ooh. Okay, let's go. Lost my trail of thought there. Should we just carry on? I feel like I was saying something pertinent, but I've completely forgotten what it was. Shout out to you, though, Drago. Thank you very much for your $5 donation. Let's carry on.
Welcome to the IQ experience. When you search online, you'd find studies claiming that sub-Saharan Africans have the lowest IQ in the world. I've seen this report for...
By the way, he's just all of those things he flashed up on the screen. Same study, David Lynn's results that have just perpetuated and been circulated over and over again. There haven't been many population-based studies linked to IQ because people understand how useless a methodology is, particularly when it comes to nations like Nigeria, which he is well aware is full of hundreds of ethnic groups, literally hundreds of ethnic groups in Nigeria, all with different verticals, different cultures, different everything. And the idea of them having a single average score, which he's already invalidated because he said these guys who I tested were a bunch of morons. That's basically what he said. But I took the test. I couldn't believe how low they were scoring. So I took it and I don't want to boast, but I did it very well. Well, you stupid moron. All you've done is just disproven your entire premise. You've just disproven your entire premise. This guy's just he's obviously too stupid to have realized that. But let's carry on.
For a long time now. However, my Western audience and the commentators often insist that IQ is the reason why Black Africa is backward.
They insist that because they're racist. And right now, because no one's done a proper study where they've really taken into account the Flynn effect, but also tried to test people from various stratas of society and looked at different socioeconomic circumstances, which is exactly what you would need to do to get a proper equal test to see if there's any relationship between race and IQ, of which I can tell you almost certainly there is not. Until someone does that, it's ridiculous, which is why it's ignored. It's not ignored because people want to be politically correct. It's ignored because people understand it's a flawed approach to pedagogy. But you wouldn't understand that because you haven't got the common sense.
True to form, my team did not fail. They delivered a thorough result. And we have the video evidence to prove it.
We have the video evidence. And it's funny he's put that behind a paywall because I want to see what he's done and see what he's, the test that he deployed. Because I have a feeling that it's going to be flawed. Not only is the test going to be flawed, but his methodology is going to be flawed. But the one thing I'm not going to do, even though I obviously could afford it, is give this guy any of my money. He's not going to get a flipping penny of my money. No, you know, see, I'm not even going to have you saying that. Because as bad as Metatron is, he doesn't hold a candle to this guy. He doesn't hold a candle to this guy. Thank you very much, Trigger. I'm not a fan of Metatron, but Metatron would never make a video like this. This guy's vile. This guy's vile. Not in my wildest day could I imagine a video where Metatron says, wow, black people are so ugly. That's just like, wow, you're so out of pocket. someone needs to. Yeah. Anyway, let me not carry on. So we were watching.
IQ testing has two formats. William Stern developed the original classical formula based on Alfred Binet's work. The modern version, which no longer uses the term mental age, instead, it applies statistical normalization where scores are distributed around a mean with a standard deviation. This method was influenced by the statistical work of David Wexler. I have never wanted Black Africa to be better than when I was going through the result.
That's a lie. I think we all know that's a lie. Okay, I think we all know that's a lie. And I don't know why he had the mention there of the the different test types. That was just to kind of give credibility, because he hasn't given any transparency to the methodology that he used to create this. In fact, from what I can see, that it looks like the highest score achievable on this test wasn't very high at all, which once again makes me wonder why he had an upper cap. And why didn't he tell us what his results were? He said, I did the test and I have to say I did very well. Okay, you did very well. That's great. Well, you authored the test, so I should hope you did well on it. You devised the test. You did say that, didn't you? It wasn't a test. You didn't just take a test that you had found. You literally devised the test. Once again, I don't know what your qualifications are for that. I have a feeling you're not qualified to do that, but there you go. Let's carry on.
Let me explain how we conducted the test and who our candidates were. We set up to the streets of Lagos. And
by the way, he doesn't explain it, but this is where it gets funny. So strap in, guys. This is funny.
We place our tables, computers at mall, high street, and popular areas. And at random, anyone who wants to come, we offer them 1,000 naira to sit down and compete.
Okay, so there you go. He's giving you he's giving you there an overview of the methodology for this test. Yeah, this study, which is going to hopefully, I want Africa to do well. I'm hopefully going to disprove the Africans have low IQ, even though we all know that that was not his goal. His goal was to prove Africans have low IQ, because he knows that his audience would eat this up like the dog chow that you produce on a daily basis. So he's gone to Lagos, okay? And it's funny. Let me give you some joke here, yeah, in the way he frames this as well. Yeah. This is hilarious. We have finally conducted, I'm reading from here, by the way, so you just have to trust me, bro. I know it's too small. It says, we have finally conducted an IQ test in Nigeria. Due to limited resources and funding, we restricted the test to Lagos. And listen to this next sentence. Listen to this next sentence. This is hilarious. The most prosperous and advanced city in the country. What is it? So you can see the way he's framing it here. He's making it sound like, oh, Lagos, this is the best of Nigeria. Anyone who knows anything about Lagos is the most diverse city possibly in the world in terms of the people it brings. It brings in the most criminal, it brings in the most straight, it brings in the dregs of society, and it brings in the richest of society. It is literally the most literally dichotomous city that you could ever come across. And he is very well aware of that. But he's framing it to make it sound like everyone in Lagos is rich. Can you see the way he's framing it? The most prosperous and advanced city in the country. Okay, and look at this, and home to some of the smartest and most academically accomplished Nigerians. Did you interview any of those? Did you test any of those? Did you? He knows the answer to that question is he didn't test a single one of these accomplished or academically brilliant Nigerians, and he's going to tell on himself in a minute. You're going to know that he didn't in a minute. Okay, so let's carry on reading what he's written here. Actually, our participants range from A-level group to Generation X. Yeah, from the A-level group to Generation X, as most Nigerians are under 45. So he's just basically said he's interviewed people from A-level age to Generation X, which is kind of like people who are around 45 years old. The results were quite disappointing. All right, so that's what he's written. Yeah, that's what he's written. This guy is such a disingenuous piece of shit. It's unbelievable. But anyway, let's carry on. going through this guy's video.
complete the test. In Nigeria, financial incentives are often necessary to
Look at this as well. So look. He says in Nigeria, financial incentives are often needed to sweeten the deal. That's what he's saying here. And so he's got here a picture of public officials collected 721 billion bribes. So even when he's trying to frame, he's actually saying he's had to use a criminal methodology to get people on board. He couldn't resist the temptation to throw shade on the African population. He couldn't resist it. He couldn't just say, we decided to incentivize because, people aren't all, doing well over here and we want to get as many people as possible. So he has to say, in Nigeria, because Nigerians are so crooked, because they're so corrupted, because they are such disgusting people, we had to incentivize them with bribery. This guy is such a piece of shit, I'm telling you. What a horrendous human being I say this guy is. But anyway, let's carry on. Let's carry on because it gets better, guys. It gets better. Because wait till you hear the bribe that he gave them.
encourage participation. It's hard to determine whether the monetary reward had a negative or positive effect on the participants, which may have invalidated the result.
Well, there you go. There's another invalidation, and certainly it would, because it all depends on how important and how substantial the financial reward you gave them was. And in the case of the financial reward that you offered them, it was absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. And you're going to see why in a minute, because it's the amount. So let's carry on. So,
nevertheless, the candidates appeared to enjoy the experience. Our candidate included a mix of young and old participants, male and female, as well as A-level student. Everyone who participated was above 16. Only 3%.
Okay, wait, I got to go back. Did he say the amount, guys? Because I feel like that was the most important thing that I want you to hear. Yeah, I must have skipped over that. So let's go back because it's important that you hear this.
To sit down and complete the test.
Oh, yes, I missed it. So let's go back. Sorry.
Computers at mall, high street, and popular areas. And at random, anyone who wants to come, we offer them 1,000 naira to sit down and.
Did you hear that, guys? So he offered them 1,000 nairas. Anyone who wanted to come, we offered them 1,000 nairas. Now, guys, do you know how much 1,000 naira is? Do you know how much 1,000 naira is? 1,000 naira for my UK people, that's 50p. Yeah? 1,000 naira is 50p. Okay? For my American dollar people, maybe about 80 cents. Okay, 70 cents, 80 cents. So he offered 80 cents, 70 cents, or 50p. Now, I want you to reverse that, okay, to the UK. So first of all, you're running an IQ test, okay? And the fact that you're paying out 50p per test, who is he attracting? Don't take too long to answer this, guys, yeah? So is he going to be attracting a broad socio-economic class of people here? Is he going to be attracting the what did he say? What was the exact phrase that he's used here? The academically accomplished Nigerians. Are they going to come over to his table and do his test for 50p? Yeah, he's going to be attracting, like Kieran said, the most desperate people. And bear in mind, he's gone to Lagos, which is basically a big market. Yeah. If you go to Lagos, that's what Lagos is. It's a big marketplace where everybody is hustling. Everybody's hustling. Everybody's hustling. Everybody want chop. Okay. So everybody's out there hustling. Yeah. Everybody is out there hustling, trying to make ends meet. Yeah. They need to sell something and keep moving along. They ain't got no time to be wasting doing this, that, and the other. The only people sitting down to take his test are people who are already on the street. He's just set up some stall there. Whoever comes, will come. Has he gone to an institution? Has he arranged a time for some professionals to do the test? Has he tried to get this broad sweep of people? Is he getting people perhaps working in their lunchtime? Who in their lunchtime is going to sit down and do an IQ test for 1,000 naira? Who's going to do that? You can't even buy your lunch for 1,000 naira. So who's going to sit down and do an IQ test with this moron? Yeah. So he knows exactly what he's going to get. He's going to get the people who have got nothing better to do and who are dirt poor. And if you're dirt poor, then you're going to be right at the bottom of the Flynn effect. That's a fact. Okay. So what he's doing is inadvertently, by doing this test in Lagos during the middle of the day, and by offering a 1,000 naira reward, he has inadvertently filtered to the very lowest end of people who are pre-Flynn effect. Okay, he's got the lowest socioeconomic class. He's got the people who literally would take that insult of a payment. He's got people who are already out on the street and clearly aren't working, aren't professionals, aren't academic, aren't successful in any way. And I'm not saying this to throw shade, but he's only attracting a single type of people. Now, on top of that, by offering, and this is where the entire invalidation goes. So someone asked me, what's wrong with him offering a 1,000 naira, yeah, for their time? Well, that's just it. When you offer someone, think about when you're at the train station, yeah? Or sorry, when you're at the petrol station. Those of you who are from the UK or whatever. All right, and there's no offense, but there's a crackhead walking around, knocking and begging. Yeah, knocking on people's windows. Oh, mate, could you? Yeah, that's respectfully remove the crack, but take that level of desperation. That's what you get in a lot of Lagos. A lot of these people walking around, they just want to get money and move on. Yeah, they're trying to sell you something quick. They're not trying to sit down with you for 10, 15, 20 minutes, pontificate on life. They got to feed themselves. They know sometimes got families to feed. They ain't got time to be sitting down with you. So if you get one of those crackheads at a petrol station, for instance, and you're like, oh, I need you to take a test, do you think he's going to do his level best? Did this guy offer an incentive where he said, actually, we've decided only our top 10% are going to get, there's a 5,000 naira bonus if you score the very highest? If he said that, the people might have taken the effort. Do you think any of those people taking that test give a shit about the questions? They were like, oh yeah, just strike that one. Do you think that's the right? Just strike it. That one. What's the next question? That one. Just take that one. No, take that one. Take that one. He just want to get their 1,000 naira, you cheap little bastard, and get the hell out of there. That's what anyone would want to do. Let me take my 50p and get the hell out of here. Go and buy some cola nuts or something like that. Yeah, that's all they're gonna be doing. Because you came with your cheap incentive, what you should have done if you were going to pay people. So this is to answer the question that someone asked me earlier, okay? What you can do is you can create a control group, okay? But when you do stuff like that, what you do, you have to pay people for the day. That way you know you've got their allegiance, okay? So you go out there and you pay people for the day. He could have gone out there and he could have paid, I don't know, let's say 50,000 naira for a half day. Yeah, and he's told every single participant, you're going to be here from 9 till 12 o'clock. Okay, now I've bought your time. I'm going to make sure you do the test properly. We're going to put you in a proper environment and we're going to pay you properly. And then you have to make sure you've done your very, very best. That's how you conduct a controlled study. Okay, you do control. You don't sit on the side of the street and just pull any crackhead you can find. Hey, do the test. We'll give you 50p. 50p, is that all you're giving me, mate? Oh, I'll do it quickly. I'll do the test. Yeah, that's why you got retarded results, you stupid moron, because you conducted your test in a retarded way. Like, it doesn't take any idiot could see how flawed this approach was. Any idiot. This guy's a complete, but it doesn't matter how flawed this test is. It doesn't matter how crap it is. It doesn't matter how unqualified he is to conduct this, because his audience of alt-right idiots are going to scoop up this shit all day long.
Complete the test. In Nigeria, financial incentives are often necessary to encourage participation. It's hard to determine whether the monetary reward had a negative or positive effect on the participants, which may have invalidated the result. Nevertheless, the candidates appeared to enjoy the experience. Our candidate included a mix of young and old participants, male and female, as well as A-level student. Everyone
as well as A-level student. Now, I don't know if this guy doesn't know how to work with plurals, but it sounded like he said there was one A-level student. Now, obviously, he doesn't know what A-level or has any intention of sharing what A-levels that person was doing, if they indeed were A-level student, or even how they scored. It's just a bunch of scores to him. And by the way, I worked out exactly how many people he had in this humongous sample of Lagosians. And let me tell you something, guys, it's not that impressive. Let's carry on.
Participated was above 16. Only 3% of the participants.
All right, guys. So I want you to look at the screen, all right? And you can work this out. I worked out how many participants he has in this study just by looking at these scores. I did it straight away. Look at the scores. Yeah, look at the scores. He's got 3.3% in one column, 3.3% in another column, 3.3% in another column, 16.7%, 20%, 26.7, 16.7, and 10%. Someone tell me, by just looking at those scores, how many participants did he have by the way these scores have broken down? And I'm going to tell you in a minute because it's very, very easy to work out. Shout out to you. Shout out to, while I wait for a response on that, see if any of you guys have worked it out. I'm going to give a shout out to Sovereign Air. Peace and blessings to you and yours, King. Keep up the great work. Thank you very much, brother. And I appreciate the $10 donation. Much appreciated. 12, not 12. Good guess, though. At least it can't be 12 with a 3.3%. 3.3% minimum means it'll be more than 12. Anyone else? Sorry, I'm a very maths brain. I've got a very maths mind, so that's why I was able to work. I saw it straight away. I was like, okay, I know how many participants he has straight away. I want to see if anyone else can get it. I'll jump in if no one gives me the answer in the next 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, you can't see the screen. Fair enough. Okay, so that's my bad. The screen's not that clear. The answer is 30. He had 30 people in this test. Okay. He had 30 people in this test. I'll tell you why. First column is 3.3. 3.3 is one participant in 30. The next one is 3.3. That's another one participant. The next one is 3.3. That's another one participant. The next one is 16.7, which is 6 participants. The next one is 20 is next one is 6 participants. Next one is 20%, which is that's 6 participants, so this will be 5. Sorry, 16.7 is 5 participants, 20 is 6 participants, 26.7 is 8 participants, 16.7 is 5 participants, and 10% is 3 participants. Okay, so that's 100%. He used 30 participants because each one was divisible by 3, and that's like almost impossible. If it was more than that, he would have had some that were like half or division. Each of them were wholes of 3. Okay, so he definitely had 30 participants. 30, that's it. That's all his budget could stretch. 30,000 naira is the limits of his budget. We deployed our team. We went out and we conducted on the streets of Lagos. But that's all our budget. Our budget couldn't take us any further. This cheap little bastard only had 30,000 naira in his pocket. Yeah, only had 15 quid in his pocket that he wanted to spend on this test. Yeah, only had 15 quid in his pocket to spend on this test. Didn't even have the respect of like going out of 100 quid and maybe visiting 2 or 3 cities and spreading it at this, that, and the other different times of day. No, he had to get it done in one afternoon. So desperate to appease his audience of alt-right, far-right extremists was he. So anyway, let's look at his results. Yeah. So he had one person who scored 100. That might be his A-level student, or it could be anyone we don't know. One who scored 96. One who scored 89, one who scored 5 who scored 82.9, 6 who scored 76.3, 8 who scored 69.7, 5 who scored 63.1, and 3 who scored 56.6. Okay, so that's his results. Yeah, and bear in mind, we've already seen the methodology leading up to this. He's tested all of these poor, strung out, desperate people on the streets of Lagos, yeah, who just wanted to go about their business. Yeah, he's tested these, and this is the results that he got. And this was enough to convince him, we are just such a deficient population. But not me. I tested it. I did it myself. I couldn't believe how easy it was. Do you need are you desperate for 1,000 naira? Would you have stopped 4,000 naira, Mr. Bantu City Pages, or whatever you called? Yeah, Bantu City Diaries. Would you have stopped 4,000 naira, or would you have said keep it? How many of your participants in this test turn around and say, oh, I don't want your 1,000 nairas? Because that's probably a good indication that someone actually is academically successful, actually not desperate, actually not destitute. There was a keep your 1,000 naira. What do I need that for? Keep that insult to you idiots. You tried to give me 1,000 naira. This guy's a buffoon. Let's carry on.
Scored 102, and another 3% scored over 80 and over 90.
And that's the thing. Just like David Lynn, he's replicating exactly what David Lynn did here, trying to make it sound off 3%, 3.3%, trying to make it sound like he had 1,000 people. Dude, you had 30 people. We've worked it out. That's definitely 30 people. I know for a fact that's 30 people, because you weren't even, you couldn't even be bothered to kind of like move the percentages a little bit to make it look a little bit different. That's 100% you used 30 people there.
Respectively. The highest group, 26%, scored 69, followed by the second highest group, 20%, scored 76. Disappointingly,
I actually think, yeah, that he's angry at these people, yeah? So see the ones who scored like between 60 and 56, because they just stole his naira. They just hustled him. I think he's vexed. They just took us now. How much is it? 1,000. Joe, give me that, Joe. I'll do the test now. Yeah, I'm finished. I'm going. You idiots. You idiots. Give me 1,000 now to do what? They finished the test in 26 seconds. He was like, yeah, watch you. I'm going to make you all look stupid. Flipping cheapskate with his 30,000 naira study.
52% of participants scored below 70, accounting for half of our candidates. Overall, the average score was 73, while the median was 69. This raises some pertinent questions. How does IQ affect a population's ability to invent, produce, develop, or run a country?
It raises important questions about your IQ, sir. I want everybody, in fact, whoever comes across this video to spam the fact that they're aware of the fact that he only used a sample of 30 and he only used the poorest people he could find. Yeah? This guy thinks everyone is born yesterday with his stupid little alt-right grift. Like, did he think that he was going to come along with this study and he was going to disprove actual, psychologists, people like Yelty Wickerts, people who have PhDs in this area, actual doctors within this field who have already disproven David Lynn and showed that actually his IQ scores were off sometimes by a region, if you adjusted for the Flynn effect, by a region of 15, 20, 25 IQ points. Yeah, depending on the individual candidate. And not to mention that no one's been able to replicate Lynn's scores, apart from this guy, by the way. No one else has been able to go out and replicate the scores that Lynn got on the IQ test for Africa, apart from this guy. This guy was able, I went out and I was so disappointed. You just got hustles, yeah, by a bunch of Lagosian hustlers who just wanted your 1,000 naira and wanted to get out of there, you moron.
Is the IQ test really useful? IQ testing can be useful, but its value depends on how and why it is utilized.
So this is him now, and you notice he'll do this in every video. After he spends the first 75% of the video disparaging black people, he'll come and try and provide the balance because, hey, I've got nothing against black people. I've got nothing against Africans. I love Africans. I love black people. So he'll come with this kind of like, IQ tests aren't that important, after spending the entire video telling white people exactly what they want to hear about black people. And he had to have known. See, I'm pondering this because I don't know, because this guy, it's like, once again, it's revisiting the whole Tinubu argument. Is this guy evil or stupid? I'm not sure which one at the moment. I was going to say he had to know that this test, the environment that he's doing this test in, his lack of knowledge about IQ test attainment, the Flynn effect, the corruption of David Lynn, his lack of basic knowledge about how pedagogy, environment, cognitive stimulation, infectious disease, economy, birth rates, all of these things have been proven to have direct links to IQ within population studies. And yet he wasn't aware of any of this and thought he could just replicate David Lynn's studies. So it's either this guy is totally unaware of all of that and he's just a little bit dim-witted, or he is aware and he just thought, I don't care, I'm going to do it anyway. And King Henry said, I think the dude's just evil. I mean, if we go through his video, you know, his bibliography of videos again, I think most people will conclude that he's a very sinister individual here.
Psychologists view it as one tool among many to understand cognitive abilities rather than a complete measure of intelligence. They use IQ tests to help diagnose conditions such as intellectual disability, attention deficit or hyperactivity disorder, ADHD, and autism spectrum disorder. In psychology and cognitive science, IQ tests help researchers study human intelligence, brain development, and learning processes. It is important to note that IQ tests do not measure all forms of intelligence. They primarily assess logical reasoning, pattern recognition, verbal ability, and working memory. In contrast, they do not evaluate creativity, emotional intelligence, social skills, or practical life skills. Additionally, various environmental factors such as education, nutrition, cultural background, and test anxiety can influence a person's scores.
So he's just read out a list of things which shows that he must have some idea of how the Flynn effect essentially has an effect on the outcomes of test candidacies. He also should have noted from that list of things that he read out that his test, you know, environment violated a majority of those. He must have picked up on the economic aspect, and he must have picked up on the, you know, the test, you know, being in a testing environment that is stressful, or even just familiarity with that kind of testing. If you're having to read tests out to people, for instance, then that is a very high indication that they're going to score low on the IQ test because they're not familiar with that kind of test taking. So it's kind of like he does this thing that Wildflower has just said, you know, trying to cover his back at the end to make it seem like, hey, I'm just an African guy who conducted a study and I'm seeing things from both sides. But he knows exactly what he was doing. His intention was for this video to be picked up by the alt-right and to be reposted and to go viral, which it effectively has. That was his intention. That was the whole reason he mobilized his team. We mobilized our team. We went to Lagos, and oh man, the results were disappointing. It was so disappointing. I did the test and I did really well. Like, he's just a walking contradiction, this dude.
Consequently, IQ tests do not fully represent an individual's overall intelligence or potential. It is essential to highlight that this should not be a reason to mock or insult Africans. IQ is not entirely fixed. Learning, education, and life.
Oh, this should not be a thing to, to mock Africans. Mate, you haven't proven anything about Africans. You went to a city in Africa and tested a tiny demographic of people under conditions that anybody would say were not just less than ideal, were absolutely stupid and ridiculous. So you tested a certain economic class, a poor socioeconomic class of people in a busy city environment, and had no control over the testing, making sure you had a consistent testing environment that was actually capable of drawing out results that were a reflection of the person's capabilities. You did nothing of that. So no African is going to sit here and worry about this proving something about Africans. The only person this proves anything about is yourself. It proves that you are inept. It proves that you're a grifter. It proves that you have no self-respect, and it proves that you'll literally do anything for the validation and for the money. People are saying validation. I know this dude. Yeah, I've met Ibos like him. And by the way, hey, I love Ibos, but I met Ibos like this dude. Yeah, just like I met Europers like Tinubu. Yeah, I know these dudes. Yeah, I've met dudes like this. Yeah, trust me. Yeah, he doesn't need white validation. He wants white cheddar. That's what he wants. Yeah, he's looking for that premium, mild cathedral city cheddar. That's what he's after. Don't get it twisted. Trust me.
Experiences can change cognitive abilities over time. Therefore, a single test may not accurately reflect a person's long-term intelligence.
You know what's funny? Wildflower has even just said something about, like, for instance, working class white people. Yeah, let's just check that out. Yeah, because I think people don't realize that you can get any kind of outcome that you want if you look for a certain demographic that's going to fulfill your bias. So for instance, let's just throw out another demographic. Yeah,
get all the immigrants.
This is a guy who went to Bedford.
No,
yeah,
Irish.
Interviewed a bunch of people. Yeah, you tell me what you think the average IQ of these people are. Let's just let this play.
Get all the immigrants out of Bedford.
No Irish, no gypsies, no blacks.
Can you look at this camera and say, I like this black man?
I hate black men.
You just saw one isolated moment.
So just seeing those three individuals, yeah, how do you think that they would fare on an IQ test, guys? Seriously, do you think me testing them would be a fair reflection of the general British public? Do you think that would be like, oh, this is a fair test of the general British public? I mean, there's loads of these guys in this video. Okay, this is what you call poor working class whites, of which there are a plethora in the UK. Yeah, in fact, they probably make up the majority. You don't see them on the media because they hide them. But these people.
What do you think about the KKK?
But I love them so much they should come to the UK.
You would welcome them if they were to come to the UK. Both of you guys.
Yep. All day, every day, they're welcome in the UK.
What would you do if you were Prime Minister with these votes?
Spend the money for it. I don't know. I don't know.
Smash your...
These crackheads can't even talk. Yeah? These crackheads can't even formulate sentences. Do you think any of the IQ studies that you've seen has ever tested any of these populations? Do you see it's very simple to target a certain socioeconomic class, yeah, a certain socioeconomic class of people who are destitute and who are poor, and say, hey, do this test. In fact, most of these guys, I could probably offer it. You couldn't get them 50p. So cheapskate Igbo man wouldn't be able to do his test in the UK. It would crumble him. It would bankrupt him. But for us in the UK, you could offer each of these guys a £5 and they'll do the test for you. Yeah. And I could get a sample that completely refutes Lynn. Okay. Completely refutes Mr. Igbo man. Yeah. And says actually UK people, hey, average IQ 50 to 60. Now, I wouldn't do that because it's disingenuous and stupid to do something like that. But can you see how easy it is when you look for the right socioeconomic class that hasn't maybe seen all of the benefits of the Lynn effect, etc., and the outcomes are going to be reflective of exactly what you need to say this population of people are stupid. So all of the white people who are celebrating this guy's, oh, Africans are dumb, but I'm not dumb. Ask yourself the question, Mr. Igbo man, who probably was raised in a, decent environment, decent household, probably has decent income, why you were able to perform so much better than the candidates that you placed through the test who were actually literally just begging and hustling in the middle of Lagos. Why? Ask yourself that question. Shout out to Kieran. He said, I offer every white man that talks about IQ $5 to take an IQ test and score a 70. I tell them I doubt they could get a 50. No one has taken me up. Yeah, absolutely. Anyone who relies And this includes David Lynn, by the way, who I think is a dim-witted racist, even though somehow it's easy to get a PhD if you're white, you know. It's easy, yeah. So I say you offer 5k. Wow, sorry, I read that wrong. You offer £5,000 for them to take and get a 70. That's not even hard to do, and none of them take you up on it. But this is the thing. When it comes to these guys, and like I said, including David Lynn, people who fall back on national IQ scores or the glory of the British Empire, these are always the people who are the most individually insufficient. These are your biggest failures in society. If you're falling back on national IQ scores, it means your independent IQ is poor, because I don't need to fall back on national anything. I'm like, I will outperform you, yeah, in any test that you want to put in front of us now. And if you want to put some boxing gloves on, I will knock your head off as well. Yeah, that's that's how I run it, with all of these flipping deficient idiots who want to try and come in my chat and descend upon my channel with their nonsense. Like, I don't fear you in any strata of society, mate. You are beneath me. Yeah, you literally are beneath me. I don't care. I'll say it. Yeah, you're beneath me. If you literally think like that, if you're one of these racist people who think like that, I already know I'm above you in every single station of life. Shout out to you, Kieran. Appreciate you very much for that. Yeah, let's finish watching more on Igbo Man's. We've got a few seconds, and then we can like call it a day.
If you think we're wrong, if you think we missed anything, please leave them in the comment section below. And also, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.
There you go. So we managed to get through that idiot's entire video. And I think that we can all agree that his data can be
right-wing politics.
Even calling it data, excuse me, even calling it data, I think is a real massive compliment, because what we saw there was literally the furthest thing from data. You saw how he acquired those tests. We know his sample size was 30. Okay, we know that he only tested poor people. We know that he tested them in circumstances where they wouldn't have given him the best results. It would not have been in their interest to do so. And we know that he doesn't know a thing about IQ tests. He's not qualified to do this. So the only reason he's been given any attention whatsoever, and people aren't just ridiculing him out of the door, is because he's saying what racist white people want to hear. He's reaffirming it, and everyone in his comments. In fact, let's just quickly, just very, very quickly go through his comments, and then we'll wrap it up for the day. Let's see what the general public is saying to this. Oh, by the way, someone's asked, am I right-handed or southpaw? I'm actually a switch hitter, but I prefer the orthodox stance. I used to, when I first started, I just started, I was only southpaw. Then I trained myself orthodox, and over time I've preferred the orthodox stance, which makes sense because I'm right-handed. But I can switch it really effortlessly, actually. So yeah, you'll get popped in both sides. Pause. All right. Let's read what the comment says. A 30 IQ point difference is massive. So they're talking about this. So the first person here is talking about the difference, obviously, I'm guessing, between Europe and Africa. And they believe this is correct. Intelligence recognizes its limits. Stupidity doesn't. I respect the hell out of this guy for his honesty. Yeah, he's really honest. Two things this guy's honest today, guys. It's a sad reality. I'm half Senegalese, half German, and always thought ethnic intellectual differences are just racist stereotype, but all my African relatives are below 80 IQ. Oh man, I feel sorry for you, man. And talking to them feels like talking to a mentally handicapped person. Flipping heck. Intelligence is not everything, and they are all lovely, caring people, but it hurts my reality. It hurts, but it's my reality. Wow. I feel sorry for you. My African ancestors, my African relations are nothing like that. Shout out to Stephen Carter. Thank you very much for the gift, sir. He says, thank you, King, for not letting that bum get away with his cynical grift. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And I hope enough people view this to be able to basically shit all over his feed, because that's what he deserves. And I'm not the type of person to kind of send people out to do that. But I will say, yeah, people like this who just like put crap out need correcting. A major problem in low IQ. And by the way, just to address the entire Flynn effect thing, the entire premise that has been propagated is that by Flynn and also by Yoti Wickerts is that Africa hasn't experienced the Flynn effect yet, or at least they're far behind in terms of the Flynn effect. So the benefits of the Flynn effect, as you saw in poor populations, hasn't been realized yet. So you see it in poor British populations, like those people we saw in Bedford, which I'm glad I showed you, and you see it in poor African populations. Okay, these are people who haven't experienced the generational effects or generational benefits of the Flynn effect. They say literally in the same family in one generation, you will see a 30-point increase in IQ scores. Okay, so if they're behind, or at least many Africans, you can't say all because many Africans are ahead of it, but many Africans are behind that trend simply because we have a larger impoverished population. But obviously they like to make the circular argument in the UK is that, oh, you're poor because you're stupid, and you're stupid because you're poor. It's kind of like, well, you guys had a much larger poor population not too long ago. Okay, and you've only been able to reverse that because you're such adept thieves and barbarians. You're so good at violence and stealing that you managed to upscale your, I should say upscale. You managed to kind of like move your up via class, your entire populations through your particular skill in unaliving, stealing, and taking back and developing your own nations, which is great. I mean, I'm not gonna hate on you. You've done what you did, and you're very successful at it. But anyway, shout out to you, Stephen, for your $40. I appreciate you very much. Let's read out a couple more comments, and then we'll wrap it up. The truth is simply the truth. Someone else reads. Yeah. Okay. Sure. Here before this video gets taken down for wrongthink. This is someone who's imagining white persecution. I'm not sharing the screen anymore, am I? Let me add that stage. Sorry, yeah. Here before this video gets taken down for wrongthink. IQ 70 is used as the threshold of intellectual disability. Okay, this person clearly is not familiar with the Flynn effect because the majority of the British population were there about 50 or 60 years ago. Majority of the British population. In Europe, such people would have a legal guardian as they are incapable of looking after themselves. Once again, totally unaware of the Flynn effect. And by the way, I don't even need to defend that because we still haven't done proper controlled studies over any or a large proportion of the African population. So there you go. Either which way, feel free to read through the comments. Feel free to, if you've got the stomach, visit Bantu City Diaries page. I have well, actually, you know what? I've decided. So, yeah, I've decided I'm going to debunk all of his videos one by one. Every time I feel a little bit bored, you're going to see a live stream pop up and I'm just going to be tearing apart another one of his videos. So I think I'm going to go for that ugly one next, because this ugly guy, it's not me saying it, it's the studies. This ugly dude is claiming that, all black people are ugly. So he clearly doesn't have any success with, women outside of his race. And I want to help him out. So I'm gonna wreck his entire channel. That's what I'm gonna do. Yeah, I'm gonna wreck his entire channel. But yeah, you go. I'm done, guys. Thank you very much for joining me. I want to give another shout out to those of you who made contributions. So shout out to Stephen, Kieran, Sovereign Air, Dregger, Angel, and yeah, all of you. I appreciate you. I appreciate your donations. I appreciate your love. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope it was useful. And those of you who said you're here for the stream, be there for the stream, because yeah, we're gonna keep cooking this clown. All right, peace out, guys. Catch you later.